James O'Keefe and Project Veritas have just caught CBS airing a staged COVID testing event. Now, this story is a little complicated, but CBS has acknowledged that the event in question that was aired on their network did in fact have fake individuals not really getting tested in the video, and they are pulling the segment, and we have confirmation from another source now. So Project Veritas has published CBS News this morning aired fake COVID-19 drive-through testing site line of cars. A lot of people do not understand how common this is. Now, this is one of the more egregious stories I've ever heard. But just to give you the gist, before we get into all the nitty-gritty, CBS is claiming they had no idea that the Cherry Health Hospital instructed one of their staffers to get in line, so it made the line look bigger. Now, according to insiders and undercover footage from Project Veritas, it sounds like the whole line, except for one or two people, was actually fake. What the undercover footage shows is that there are people saying that the news crew basically wanted the line to look really big, so they faked it. But there was actually one or two real patients, which made everything go slower, so they were kind of upset about it. If you're to trust the undercover footage, what the people there are actually saying, it sounds like CBS, the news crew, set the whole thing up because they wanted the testing site to look like it was more robust. I was just in Los Angeles, or I was in the LA area, right? It's pretty big. It's not necessarily just LA as the city, but there's a bunch of like small cities in LA County. And there was a testing site I had seen over the course of like 4 days. Never did I see a single car at that testing facility. Don't ask me what that means. I don't know. But I bring this up because when I saw this story initially, that the news crew wanted to stage this, according to the insiders, I believed it. Because there have been a bunch of videos in the past, and a lot of people don't understand how common it is for journalists to ask someone to do something. Say, hey, will you do this for me? I want to get a photo. I need it to look like this. Not only that, but even Snopes has acknowledged that in the past, CBS did air fake footage. Look at this. A CBS News program used a brief clip from an Italian hospital in a segment about the coronavirus crisis in New York City. True. Even Snopes coming out, calling out the fake news. Now, look, CBS is basically saying we had no idea. Our news crew didn't do this. But there's been a bunch of famous videos exposing, or I should say clips like being released, showing a journalist asking someone at a protest, hey, could you like hold this thing up so I can get a photo of you? They ask the protesters to do something. I have seen this over and over again. And most people don't realize they do this, and most journalists don't care. They think nothing of it. They're like, oh, but the protester was there and he had the sign. I just asked him to hold this sign up. Yeah, you asked them to pose for your news shot. That's fake news. You're supposed to be going there and just filming what's going on. Now, I get it. Journalists, in many instances, can't remove themselves completely, but it is a whole other ballgame to show up and be like, yo, make the line look bigger. Now, to make CBS, their best argument is they had no idea, but they are. So this is the big slam dunk for Veritas. CBS has announced they are removing the clip. That's huge. So let's read a little bit from Project Veritas, but we also have the Washington Times that made some phone calls, verified some of this apparently. But let's see the story. Project Veritas reports a CBS News crew pulled medical professionals off the floor at the Cherry Medical Center in Grand Rapids, Michigan, to line up in their vehicles so a CBS film crew would have a long line for their COVID-19 coverage. Now, that statement comes from insiders, multiple people who have said this. CBS, again, they deny it, saying, we had no idea. We had no idea, but they are pulling it. So it's like, it's legit, dude. It's confirmed staged event. Here's a quote. Our insider witnessed the whole thing and came to Project Veritas because he knew we would protect him, said James O'Keefe, the founder and CEO of Project Veritas. The insider told us that medical personnel were taken away from treating patients and making the line longer for actual patients wait for the COVID-19 tests. In an interview with the insider, O'Keefe asked the insider, you're telling me you're 100% certain that CBS News Corporation, National, staged a fake event. They faked the news. They faked the reality and broadcasted that to all of their audience last Friday on CBS This Morning. The insider said to him, 100% absolutely. Now, here's what I want to see from CBS. Will they go on TV and apologize for this and make a statement? I believe they would have to do this. So I don't know when the next airing of their show is. They should issue an on-air retraction, correction, and apology. Even if they're claiming they didn't set it up, like the insiders are. The event was staged. They're pulling it. I want to see an apology. Nick Ross, a corporate cleaning site supervisor at the Cherry Health facility, said he was there when the CBS News crew arrived and set up the video shoot at the COVID-19 testing site in the parking lot. Quote, apparently the news crew wanted more people in the line because they knew it was scheduled. Maria Hernandez Vasquez, a professional registration specialist, told the Insider that Cherry Health Director of Quality and Informatics, Glenda Walker, helped to organize the facility's workers into the COVID-19 testing line. Apparently, this, to a certain degree, has also been confirmed. They're definitely trying to downplay it. But apparently, according to the Washington Times, when they got it, well, I'll say that. I'll read it. But yes, there was someone at this hospital who was coordinating this. Quote, it's just annoying because we could have done other stuff, said one registered nurse there, recorded with a hidden camera by a Project Veritas insider. The nurse said personnel at the medical center were given the heads up to expect the CBS News crew. Quote, we knew they were coming. We had no clue that we're going to have to do fake patients. Another registered nurse, Allison Morrow, recorded on hidden camera, said she and other medical professionals working the drive-through testing site did not administer the actual swab swipe as CBS News was filming, but the actual patients were made to wait longer because of the manufactured line. Quote, we pretended there were a couple of real patients, which made it worse. The footage was used to accompany CBS News reporter Andreana Diaz's narration and interview with Tasha Blackman, the president and CEO of Cherry Health. In the CBS News report, Blackman told her facility needed gowns and N95 masks, which filter incoming breath to protect the medical professional. Cherry Health president and CEO Tasha Blackman told Project Veritas in a phone conversation, quote, we and CBS News had nothing to do with that line. Blackman said she had not viewed the preview of the Project Veritas report that had been emailed to her, and that after reviewing the matter with her team, she would give Project Veritas a statement. Project Veritas followed up with phone calls and emails, but there was no further response before the deadline. Project Veritas also spoke to CBS News President Susan Zorinsky, who agreed to review the preview of the report and send a statement in. Now, hold on a second. It sounds like based off of Veritas's own reporting, CBS may not have actually had anything to do with this. What were they saying? The hospital was saying they needed more equipment. Stands to reason CBS may be telling the truth, that they didn't know this was going on, and someone from the hospital wanted the line to look bigger. It might actually be the hospital exploiting CBS News as an opportunity to make it look worse. So they then could say, hey, look, that's us. We need supplies. I'm not saying I know for sure. But if CBS is coming out and saying they had no idea, my question then is, why would the hospital fake this? Well, as Veritas even notes, in the CBS report, they said they need more materials. I can only speculate. We don't know for sure. Let's read the statement. CBS News said, quote, CBS News did not stage anything at the Cherry Health facility. Any suggestion to the contrary is 100% false. These allegations are alarming. We reached out to Cherry Health to address them immediately. They informed us for the first time that one of their chief officers told at least one staffer to get in the testing line along with real patients. No one from CBS News had any knowledge of this before tonight. They also said that their actions did not prevent any actual patients from being tested. We take the accuracy of our reporting very seriously, and we are removing the Cherry Health portion from the piece. Whoa, that is huge. Bravo, Project Veritas. I mean, this is big. You actually got CBS to pull the clip. Now, will they apologize? We'll see. But again, I want to stress, CBS, they might not be, they may be the victims in all this. Let's be fair. For all we know, it was one of the executives, apparently it's the executives at the hospital who were telling the staff to do these things. They may have been lying. Look, we don't know who did what. What we can say definitively is Veritas just exposed a staged clip, and it's being pulled. That's massive. CBS This Morning executive producer Diana Miller gave an interview to her parent company's website, Viacom.com, where she said the morning TV news show was making its coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic a priority. Quote, whenever you're chasing a story that's developing, there are threads that emerge. Focusing on first responders has been important for us because they are on the front lines, and it's important we're showing the reality of the situations they are in every day. We've always been driven by the news and want to provide context and clarity on the important stories of the day. So the Washington Times actually did some digging as well, and they got similar statements. Here's what I'd like to see from you, CBS. First of all, retraction, correction, apology. But if you really were unaware of this, I'd like to see you perhaps team up with Veritas or actually dig into how you were misled and why. So CBS says the medical staff said something to the effect of, one staffer was told to get in line. Why? Why would they do that? Why did the hospital want the line to look longer, even if it was just one person? No, seriously, I would like that question answered. If they're simultaneously asking for supplies, I mean, we got a problem here. You can't be doing that. So the Washington Times says that CBS has denied faking a scene of novel coronavirus testing in Michigan by padding the drive-through line with clinic workers to make the health center look busier than it was, as alleged in a Project Veritas expose. Employees of Cherry Health in Grand Rapids said they lined up their vehicles outside the COVID-19 testing tent for a May 1st segment on CBS Morning News, according to an interview with an unidentified clinic insider. Quote, apparently the news crew wanted more people. We read this stuff. In a statement to the Washington Times, CBS News denied that the crew staged such a scene, which would be a clear breach of journalistic ethics. Quote, CBS News did not stage anything at the Cherry Health facility. Any suggestion to the contrary is 100% false, said the statement, which was also posted on the Project Veritas website. These allegations are alarming. My question is, how would CBS know? If you send a news crew of like 2 or 3 people down and one person in that crew goes and asks for a special request, those other crew members wouldn't know, and CBS as a parent company wouldn't know, and they would deny it. Oh, we have no idea. We didn't do any of this. Yeah, the dude or the person in this crew may have actually done this. They say we reached out immediately, so here's what they admitted. They informed us for the first time one of their chief officers told at least one staffer. Here's what I think when I see that. That to me sounds like they know they're busted. And so they're like, oh, but we did. Yeah, but it's one person, right? It's how you can tell the truth, but then also omit and lie. So if it comes out, someone said, yeah, we were told to get in line, they can say it was just one person, right? So they're kind of admitting it, but trying to downplay it like it wasn't a big deal. Now, I don't buy it. Why would the hospital instruct one person to get in line? That serves no purpose, unless the line was just the one person, in which case you still staged the line. Why would you ask even one staffer to do this? Yeah, you're busted, man. The network added that they said it didn't prevent any actual people from being tested. Well, that's not the insiders and the undercover footage shows. Faking such a scene would be beneficial to both CBS and the health center, according to the unidentified insider who said he contacted Veritas about the incident. He says, I think it's a little bit of a benefit to both parties. I do know Cherry Health is struggling a little bit financially. They're a nonprofit, so they get a lot of their money from donors or grants. So it just makes them look productive. And on the other side of the news, they want the line to appear bigger than it is just for reporting purposes to show that this is a big deal, that people are getting tested in massive numbers. The media does this all the time in various ways. They'll go to a protest and they'll wait for the protest to dwindle, take a photo and say, there was nobody here. They'll show up to an event where it's a very tiny protest and they'll get a really tight shot of a bunch of people, kind of out of focus with the person at the rally and make it look like there's a ton of people there. They do this for political rallies. If there's a Trump rally, they'll go all the way in back. So you see a big empty stadium and a small group of people. If it's, Hillary, they'll get really close and a really tight shot so it looks like there's a massive crowd. That's how they manipulate to give you a sense of what's going on. There's a ton of ways that the media frames things to manipulate you. Now, I'm not going to accuse anybody. I'm not accusing anybody of anything here, right? I think you've got the insiders making their point. You've got the hospital staff's admission. So we'll leave it at that, right? I think, and now the question as to who benefits, yeah, I mean, they both do. CBS is pulling the footage. The Washington Times has reached out to the clinic for comment. Cherry Health president and CEO Tasha Blackman told Veritas in a phone conversation, we and CBS News had nothing to do with that line, according to the undercover journalism outfit. That wasn't the impression left by the hidden camera footage, which indicated that staffers worked with the news crews to fake the scene. I really doubt the news crews were scripted for Veritas. They're speaking off the cuff, candid undercover, and said this is what we were told to do. So I think we know the rest of it. The segment called Michigan Ramps Up Testing and introduced by CBS Morning News focused on the importance of expanding testing as the state seeks to reopen after shutting down vast swaths of the economy for the coronavirus. But if there was no one lining up for testing, things are really strange. And I've seen, like I mentioned, I saw that in Los Angeles. If you're trying to argue you need to ramp up testing, but no one's showing up for testing, I mean, what do you do? Like, I don't know. There's a political angle to this, too. They go on to mention that Veritas has been accused of deceptively editing footage. I don't think I disagree with that, because I've seen other major news outlets do similarly edited investigations. As James often says, you only see people's mouths moving and things like that. Obviously, in some of these videos, you don't, because it's like, undercover footage. But I will say my one critique is it's possible, and it's not necessarily a critique, it's kind of just my opinion. It's possible that these people caught on undercover footage don't really know what happened and were told it was CBS, but CBS really didn't do it. Now, I'm not one to typically defend the press, but I do have standards and ethics, and I believe Veritas does as well. So I would just add my perspective to the mix. It's possible that, just because these people are saying CBS wanted it doesn't make it true. It could be the executive trying to make an excuse, because if the executive went to their nurses and staff and said, we want you to pad this line, make everything look worse, then they might get mad and be like, whoa, we can't do that. But if they come and say, oh, it's the news crew, oh, okay, the news crew wants it. Well, that's silly. That way they don't get mad at the executives for wasting their time. But I will tell you a couple more things. I was actually surprised that Snopes fact-checked this story. CBS News in the past has used fake footage. Now, I don't know if they've ever apologized for this or pulled the footage. They say after CBS News was called out for airing footage from a hospital in Italy and saying it was New York, they apologized and said it was an error. So there we go. Less than a week later, they aired the same footage, this time when talking about Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, man. As much as I can play, entertain my opinion and perspective, if we know that CBS has done this multiple times and Project Veritas is saying the insiders have said CBS staged it, why should I trust CBS at all? Look at this. They did it twice. And even Snopes is calling this out. Of all places, the left-leaning Snopes. Things like this have happened. They happen all the time. Now, what I mean by all the time is not literally every segment, every minute of the day. I'm saying that it happens very, very frequently. You remember this story? ABC apologizes for showing video from a U.S. gun range in a report on Syria. They do this. Man, if you have seen the things I've seen, the news industry, in my opinion, is corrupt. It's bad, man. It really is. I brought this up on the Rogan podcast when it comes to like CNN and Jim Acosta and how they're always arguing with Trump. I'm like, listen, man, I've been in these environments where there's like a press conference and these news organizations are like, ask a question. And you're like, I don't have a question. And they're like, think of something, ask something. Like, we have to do something. I was once in a meeting where they were like, we want to cover the elections. It was like some primary election or something, or congressional election. And I was told to go cover a polling location. And I said, sure. And when I showed up, there was nothing there and no one. And they told me, do it anyway. And I said, do what? And they were like, film something. And I'm like, there's nothing to film. And they were like, film anything. And I said, what do you want me to film? It's an empty sidewalk. There's nothing in the building. There's nothing here. And I refused to do it. This is one of the reasons I don't want to work for these companies. They told me, go out and just film anything. Just go live. Just do it. And I'm like, you want me to stand around? What am I going to say? Say anything. This makes no sense. I'm standing here on the sidewalk in an empty side street. Nothing's happening. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah. They said, just do it. You know what it was? Is that they want you to just get with the program, but they don't want to say it. That's in my experience. Because if they have to tell you, we need you to stage something, well, then they're in trouble. If they say, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, just do it, go film. Then you're like, okay. And then you start filming and they want you to make it up. Now, it's not all the time. That happened to me one time at one of the companies I worked for, one time. But I was told by one of the companies to just side with the audience on factual news. I'm doing air quotes here, which basically means just say things the way they want to hear it. That's not news, man. I've seen situations where photographers have asked protesters to like, hey, can you crouch down and like hold up your sign? Hey, can you like lay down with your sign and your friends? Can you do this? Can you do that? That's staging, man. That's literally posing for a photo, asking a protester to do something. And you know what, man? It infects every level. Like I mentioned with press conferences, you will hear questions that sometimes you'll ask like makes no sense. Remember that woman who asked Trump something about the Kung flu? She was like, someone said that, someone in your administration said Kung flu, and Trump was like, who said it? And she goes, oh, I don't know. And he's like, then why are you asking? Like, it's just a stupid rumor because she had nothing to ask, because she's trying to justify her job. This is the problem, man. There's no fixing it because independent media isn't immune either. Like, Everybody is trying to find something to do or say or talk about or appear useful. And then you end up with fake news. Granted, I'm pretty confident that most of the higher profile political commentators aren't lying to you. Now, some of them can be a bit disingenuous or wrong. I think it's difficult to assume someone's lying because you really need to read their mind to know that they were intentionally trying to mislead you. People are just wrong sometimes. Now, what we're seeing with CBS airing this fake footage, nah, that's intentional. Yeah, that's lying to you. What we see with ABC and this stuff, I don't trust this stuff, man. I'm pretty sure they're just lying to you because I know I've worked for these companies. The company I worked at where they were telling me to do those things, that was an ABC News company. And here we have this story. Yeah, it was owned partially by ABC News. So do I trust them? No. I worked in the ABC building in New York. I don't trust them at all, man. I will say this, though. That ABC News building's got an excellent cafeteria, man. The pretzel rolls with roast beef. Ooh, that was amazing. Good cafeteria. Bad news, though. Not all bad. I'm just being silly. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment's coming up on my main channel, which is youtube.com/Timcast. Type that in your URL bar right now, and you'll be surprised to find it is not this channel. I don't know how to explain it to people because they're often like, you always tell me to check out your other channel, youtube.com/Timcast, but I'm on Timcast. No. The URL and the name are very different. Perhaps I should just buy a .com. I should just I'll do that. I'm going to do that. I'll see you then. 4 p.m. Thanks for hanging out.